in an evolution of what we go through, we have to go through change. Change is inevitable with every state of life. When I start the new year and when I begin the new year, or maybe the last day of the year, I will usher in the change. I will usher in the moniker that will be the mission statement going forward until the next change. I know it's time to do what we need to do, and we will make that change. It will take time to get there. One second. It will take time to get there. I have a book that I was going to release, but it was going to be bittersweet. I was going to do it January 1st, and I wanted to get it out there, but you know what? Sometimes in life, it doesn't work that way. You don't push for things, and you don't rush them. That's why this brand will mean a whole lot when I do it. This brand will not take crap from anyone, but will have a lightheartedness to it. Which means if the Wolfman is forced to do something, he will laugh at it and see how we could go for a victory. But in it, it is not about how many victories you could get. It is about how many losses you could take. And as Rocky said, keep moving forward. Sometimes you have to lose a lot to win. And fight for that victory. Which means you may have to fight till no end, even if you are losing all the time. But no, that day is going to come, and you will be victorious. I'm going to tell you a story of what my nickname was when I was a kid. When I was a kid, I was a wrestling fan. And instead of liking Hulk Hogan or Roddy Piper at the time, I liked the Iron Sheik, Nikolai Volkov. See, I wanted to be different from everyone. I wanted to be different from my friends. I wanted to be different from my brother. I wanted to be different from my cousin. So I opposed them. Why? Because it's the nature of being an early leader. sometimes you gotta take a stand in something, even if you're gonna lose at it. So what happened was I adopted the wrestling name Joseph the Russian Bear. That's who I was. And when I was in that role, even though I was an American born in America, just like many wrestlers, I took the role on as an American, as an immigrant from Russia who came over to America to compete many times. Main reason why he competed was because he lost consistently, which I did when I was a kid. I lost against my brother. I lost against my cousin. And throughout my life, when I competed, there are two victories that I remember. Once, when I knocked out my cousin in a boxing match that we had at the time because we were kids. And two, when I beat my brother about 10 years later, or 11, in NHL 97 for the Stanley Cup, the small Stanley Cup that we had. It was a video game for the Sega Genesis. Well, anyway, we competed in wiffle ball, we competed in hockey, we competed in everything. He always won. He was better than me. But I fought. I was different. I kept on fighting, and I worked really hard when I was younger. Not a lot of people know that story because I didn't tell it that much. But it's the reason why psychologically I had been thinking that I was a loser at life. And it's true. Sometimes we have to lose a lot to get to where we need to go. Somewhere along the line, I forgot that, and it came back to me. And boy did it did. Boy it did. And I remember one thing. Despite how down I was, despite how defeated, despite everything, I kept rising. I kept coming back. I kept fighting every single day. I kept doing whatever I had to do, and I fought what I need to fight. And the truth of the matter is this. When this new brand comes, it's going to have a little of the old me and a little of the new me. It's going to be the Wolfman. Because the Wolfman could crack jokes, but it has fire of me. The fire of Joseph Evaldi. Because you know what? Me as Joseph Evaldi, joy is raw. But you know what? Can never be fulfilled, can never be happy at life. And it's true. Aspire to be the greatest writer of all time. Didn't know. The greatest writing he ever did wasn't created yet, and it will. It's what begins the journey, part 2, to the new brand. The new rebranding of Joseph Evaldi Brand. Times have changed, and as much as we go on deadlines and everything else, as much as we wish for a book to be released or anything else, it will come in due time. Like I say, rebranding is different. Rebranding the launch is different. Takes time to get there in the rebrand. You don't just put out stuff that's mediocre or bittersweet or anything. You do it because it has meaning. That is what I plan on doing. If it doesn't have meaning to it, it's not worth doing it. And you know what? I have a lot of mediocre stuff out there. Tomorrow, I will put them up and advertise them on my Facebook page, the author page. And I will post it up where the books are sold or whatever, and where the Facebook pages are. They will be the last time these books are ever up. Yes, the last time, which means once New Year's comes, I work to delete and remove them, which means they will be no more till a later date. Because I only want the best out there. As for the books in print, can't change that. They're done. Maybe rebranding that too, along the way. As for books such as books that aren't on audio, because audio I can't change that. They're already out there. Books that aren't, and I will see which ones there are or if they're not. Some will go away. Maybe not all, but some. Such as The Passage of Joe. Such as other books that I have done. Some will go away. And I will see which ones. Times are changing. And in order to change, we got to keep up with the times. And that is what I'm going to do. I am going to rebrand this brand. And at the end of the day, it's all said and done. And the birth takes place, even though you might not see something right away, even though you might. I will be creating a new way to look at the brand. And just as brands are, expect a big, massive change in it. Change that you haven't seen for a while, and sometimes you don't see the change taking place. But there is a major change on the horizon. And for you who have supported me for a while, I know some have left and some have come, and some are now my biggest supporters. Some that I would not even expect. And I thank you. And I have just a few seconds or a minute or two left in this podcast. And I will say this.